Hello everyone. Today I'm comparing the SVS SB1000 Pro to the 3000 Micro. These are both relatively new subwoofers. They both came out in like the past month and a half. And it's kind of strange that SVS decided to release two new subwoofers, both their smallest, at around the same time. I'm thinking they maybe thought, well, hey, everyone's getting their stimulus check now, so right now is a great time to release new subwoofers, but I don't know. Um, the SB1000 Pro is of course, much larger subwoofer than the new 3000 Micro. The 3000 Micro is supposed to be a micro subwoofer, and it definitely looks the part, but it doesn't sound the part, which I'll get to in a moment. Um, the SB1000 Pro is their cheapest subwoofer, starts at 500, but with the gloss finish, it goes to 600. And then if you want to add SVS's special noise isolating feet, then it becomes 650 altogether. The 3000 Micro is 800 bucks, but it comes with the gloss finish. You don't need to pay extra for that. And it also doesn't need the isolation feet, or it doesn't benefit much from it because it has this cool dual driver design. Whereas dual 8-inch woofers, one to each side, and they go in and out at the same time, and they essentially cancel out the cabinet resonance. Now you may be wondering then why I have it on this isolation platform. And that is because, despite the fact that it is far less resonant than a normal subwoofer, unfortunately, I have it next to this fireplace here, which has this very rattly curtain. So I really need maximum rattle protection. So I find that the 3000 Micro still does benefit from having an isolation platform, although it doesn't really increase the sound quality, which I think may be what SVS is getting at. With the SB1000 Pro, though, it's far more resonant, or you can definitely feel it moving more while playing content, and the sound quality benefits from the isolation platform, and not just in form of rattle reduction. Whereas with the 3000 Micro, the advantage to the isolation platform is only rattle reduction, and I don't hear sound quality benefit, which again is what SVS is probably getting at when they say that you don't need the isolation feet that they sell for it. SVS sells these isolation feet for their subwoofers, though they say that they work for many different brands that help isolate, that essentially do the same thing as an isolation platform, but are feet, so they're supposed to look better. Now, while SVS doesn't explicitly advertise this, they did tell me that those feet will work with the 3000 Micro. It might look a little bit goofy with the larger feet, but I still think it would probably look better than this arrangement I have now with the isolation platform. But basically, with the 3000 Micro, I don't think you need the isolation platform if you don't have a rattly room. With the SB1000 Pro, you will get a sound quality benefit to the isolation platform. So then if we compare, the price of the SB1000 Pro with the gloss finish and with some isolation platform or with SVS's feet, now we're only looking at a $150 difference versus the $300 difference from before, because the gloss finish is an extra $100 on the SB1000 Pro, and then some sort of isolation platform or SVS's feet is going to add an additional $50 to that. So then you're looking at $650 versus $800. And the 3000 Micro, it's just a better subwoofer. And it's an incredible subwoofer. It is much smaller, but what it loses in size, it has great power. It has over twice the wattage that the SB1000 Pro is, despite being smaller. It's an angry little box, and it really just begs you to play louder and louder. And the fact that it doesn't rattle as much, especially if you do go ahead and double down and put an isolation platform, means you can really crank up the volume. But the best benefit of the 3000 Micro is that it does not localize, which means you cannot hear where the bass is coming from, or it localizes less than any other subwoofer I've heard. And it localizes less than that includes the SB1000 Pro. The 3000 Micro isolates more than the SB1000 Pro does. So what that means is you have more placement flexibility, and also more flexibility with the crossover. I could run the 3000 Micro at my receiver's maximum crossover of 200 hertz and still not be able to localize it. Whereas, I could still kind of localize the SB1000 Pro a little bit at 80 hertz. I didn't actually notice how localizable the SB1000 Pro was until I heard the 3000 Micro. And that is really a cool ability of the 3000 Micro. Now, as to why it is less localizable, it may be that the smaller drivers are less localizable. Typically, with sound and acoustics, the smaller the driver is relative to the frequency being reproduced, the less localizable it'll be, which means lower frequencies are less localizable, and smaller drivers are less localizable. Which is cool because it just makes your main speakers, even if they're small bookshelves, sound huge, because you can't tell where the subwoofer is, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I mean that is a pretty big advantage, especially if you're using small satellite speakers. And if you're using a small subwoofer like the 3000 Micro, you are probably also inclined to buy smaller speakers because you care more about aesthetics. So overall, I'm going to keep the 3000 Micro and send back the 1000 Pro, because I do think it is worth the premium, especially if you care a tremendous amount about size. But the fact that, I can't notice any advantage to this larger subwoofer to the smaller one here is pretty darn impressive. Trying to think if there's anything else to comment on. The 3000 Micro, it's also faster than the faster sounding and punchier than the SB1000 Pro. Though I don't consider the SB1000 Pro to be a slow subwoofer. Once I heard the 3000 Micro, then it made this sound slow in comparison. I think that this subwoofer, that the 3000 Micro, would be an excellent subwoofer for people with Magapan, electrostatic speakers, because I know those people are always like, oh, my speakers are so fast, no subwoofer will keep up with it. but you know, the 3000 micro is so fast. I think, yeah, it might actually become, it might be able to do it, and it might be the best subwoofer for you, especially because it's less like localizable at a higher crossover, which means that, you know, Magapans, those electrostatic Magapan speakers, they don't produce much bass anyway, so you're going to want to cross over higher, which you can do with the 3000 micro. So overall, I think it'd be a great speaker, a great subwoofer for those. Now, I have not heard Magapans myself, but I have heard, you know, Stax electrostatic headphones before, and, you know, I remember how quick those were. Um, so yeah, overall, I like both subwoofers, but if you can swing it, I think the 3000 micro is worth the premium, especially with the localizability benefit, um, or the, I should say, the lack of localizability benefit. Um, okay, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. Thank you.